And we are back to Facebook Live here from the home office in California. Welcome to Techo Financial Live on Facebook. We've been doing this now for about 2 months now, I think, ever since all this insanity has happened. And we just wanted to say a couple things we're really excited about. So, since the last time we did this show, happy summer, everybody. It's officially summertime.
Yay.
So even though it's gotten warmer, we officially passed that date, 21st of June, into the summer months. And I'm really excited because, as you can see from what I'm wearing, Kim, I'm wearing, and it's backwards for all of you, but it says Chicago. So Chicago Cubs, baseball is back. And I can't tell you how excited I am. And I know Noah, our son, is really excited. And I think the whole country is excited that even though there's been golf and there's been NASCAR, obviously the American pastime in baseball is coming back to start in late July.
Can hardly wait to watch more on TV.
And just how you didn't sound that enthusiastic.
Yeah, mixed emotions here.
Well, we'll make you happy though, Kim. Is instead of it being 162 games, which is typically what a normal season is.
Yeah, it's greatly reduced.
It's going to be 60 games. Mm-hmm. At least that's what was negotiated between the players and the owners. So we are expecting 60 games to be played this year. I don't know if that includes. It may include some playoffs. They will have playoffs. And I think that obviously it'll be a shortened season. So there's a lot of talk with the adjustment of it being a shorter schedule as to whether or not they will reduce the schedule going forward. Like, does it really require 162 games in order to get to a champion? And so, everyone's experimenting and we're trying new things. It's been fun and interesting to watch NASCAR races and even PGA events without fans. It's a different experience. You kind of like the roar of the crowd. And it was funny because there is a petition, I think, going out for Major League Baseball that they take a page from what they've been doing in South Korea, where they've been playing baseball, and they're actually filling up the stadiums, especially in those shots where you could see, like, let's say the shot behind first base or the pitcher, and you can see the batter. They're stuffing the stands with stuffed animals.
Oh,
so at least it looks like there's an audience.
Wow. That's funny.
So baseball's back. We're excited about that. Obviously, as states have started to reopen, and we've been seeing people now enjoying the summer and warmer weather, the headlines obviously are starting to drive the uncertainty that it's been all along about coronavirus, and now, of course, the second wave and the resurgence. So we thought we'd spend a little bit of time just talking about these headlines. And as you know, we are operating during uncertain times. So the market is starting to take a toll a little bit here and there, and volatility seems to be coming back. But again, it's a leading indicator, and this was pretty much baked in, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I think that the market got a little ahead of itself at the highs, and now we have to wait and see what happens. But having said that, the worst, in my opinion, is over. And even when it comes to coronavirus, because the market is significantly weighted on what's going to happen. Are we going to have a second wave or not? Even if we have that second wave, it's not going to be like the first time because we have so much more information. Mm-hmm. We know how to treat this better. We can shorten time in hospitals. That'll help them not be so overweighted with COVID patients. And we have a lot of data. We know that we're not going to get this if we touch a hard surface, most likely. And but if we're confined in a space, wear your mask. And so there are so many things that make this more tolerable, that as we see people getting it, and we can't escape it, we just have to understand if we are super vulnerable, if we do have existing conditions, don't go out so much. Mm-hmm. But we cannot close our economy for this any longer because there's too many repercussions that, have a whole lot of other damage that they will do. And so I think, we have to open up, but we also have to be mindful and be responsible for ourselves. And so just make those smart decisions if you are really worried about this virus. But mm-hmm. again, we're getting it from droplets. We're not getting it from hard surfaces. So wear your mask and be protected when you're in close quarters.
All really good points, and the fact is that we're learning more and more about this virus, I think, with each passing week, and we certainly know a lot more now than we did when all of this got started. And it was being, referred to as a novel virus, is what it is. And what that means is, as we all know, that it was not something we've seen before. And so as we figure it out, and as we learn more things like that you can't get it from surfaces, we're getting smarter about how to combat the virus. And as such, I think being measured in opening things up, putting those who are most at risk outside of, an area of contagion where they could possibly get others sick, and being smart about being self-disciplined. And if you are feeling the symptoms, if you are sick or if you have it, that you're being confined and you're following all those protocols to protect, not only your own family, but the people around you. I certainly have seen a real change in people's attitudes about wearing masks. I think people are just being more receptive to understanding that in order for them to have the freedom to do the things that they want to do, whether it's shopping, exercise, or go out and about, that they're going to have to wear masks. And, even I am starting to get used to it. It's becoming like a checklist item now when I leave the house. And even when we leave with Noah or the kids, it's just a reminder, hey, did you bring your mask?
Yeah.
It's becoming one of those things, almost like, sunglasses, keys, and mask now.
And the other thing is that it's funny. My daughter had a doctor's appointment, and the doctor said, you have asthma, get a pneumonia shot. And so that was really interesting. I think doctors can do a lot for their patients in terms of helping them weather it, so that if they get COVID, because nobody's immune to it, that they will not have as harsh of an illness. And so that was good. So, tip out there, if anybody, is thinking about that and worried about it, talk to your doctor. Maybe there are certain things that you should do because you may be more susceptible to it. So I thought that was really interesting. And like I said, we have so much more information now than we did when this first started in February here in the US. That, it's unfortunate. It's a horrible disease. I wish we didn't have to deal with it, but it's here to linger for a while. And so, speak to your doctor if there's anything you can do to make, just in case it happens to you, that it might make it a less damaging virus. And also know that, now if you were going to be a patient versus if you were a patient in February or March, I'm sure it's an entirely different experience in a hospital. And I tell you, I would rather get it, a month from now than 2 months ago.
Oh, and and that's interesting because the adjustments obviously are being done in the medical space as they understand more and more about it. But I'm seeing it at supermarkets, I'm seeing it at restaurants, I'm seeing it all around. People are starting to kind of get used to the fact that this is the way we are. We're going to stand in line. We are going to social distance, and it's becoming commonplace, much like it was removing shoes, belts, and such before going to the TSA and going through security before you would actually get on an airplane. So all these adjustments we're kind of getting used to. I can't help but continue to feel this sense that we're waiting for something. I think we're all just waiting for the vaccine. So until that comes, and we know that there's large number of organizations that are working on a vaccine, some of the brightest people around, it's coming, and it's just a matter of time. It's not if, but when. But until that time, we encourage everybody to continue taking the precautions that they need. We continue monitoring the financial markets. Like I said, headlines and uncertainty is going to drive them up and down, but the fundamentals are still there, and that's really what matters. One thing that has come out of all of this, and we've been talking about it in these Facebook live sessions, it's come up in some of the things that we've been writing about, and then also on our newsletter, is this theme of innovation and how much innovation is really making an impact, and it's really showing itself in how we've been able to manage. It's because of innovation that businesses have been able to manage and still work through in a shelter-in-place environment with people working from home. And so I want to turn it to Kim, because this is a theme I know you're really excited about, and you're going to be hearing more about it from us, is that innovation is not a tech-oriented and tech-only thing. So I'm going to let you expand on it, because I know you're excited about it.
I know. I am passionate about it. I think for a lot of us who have been in the industry for many, many years, and if you remember, if you live in Silicon Valley and you worked for a company back in the late 1990s, you always have, it's like the coronavirus. You have a respect for technology stocks. You know they can do well, but you can get burned on them too, right?
Yeah.
And so I think everybody has that respect because they remember the dot-com bust and what happened there. And so having said that, we've always thought that, you should not have very much in tech, but have some so you can participate in the gains that they do. But always know that they are just a very volatile asset class. And as quickly as they can go up, they can go down as well. But having said that, looking underneath it all and saying, why does technology do well despite the coronavirus and despite everything else? And what makes some stocks, reach a higher high now, even after the downfall? And I think it really all boils down to innovation, and innovation replacing companies that just are not innovating and are not moving ahead and really seeking opportunities that times are changing and things are different. So, it's almost like a zero-sum game. If you think about Uber and Lyft and this whole idea of shared technology, that's innovation that came out of 2008 and 2009.
Right.
Out of need, because we were in a really bad recession. And once Uber and Lyft took over, the taxi cab business was hammered. And if you bought a medallion to operate a taxi cab in maybe like 2005, 2006, in New York City, maybe you had to pay over $1 million for it. And then if you tried to sell it after that, 2010, 2011, maybe you would get $250,000 for the same medallion. People have lost a lot of money in the taxi cab industry because they completely dropped the ball and Uber and Lyft took over and modernized the whole industry and completely just devastated the taxi cab industry. So you want to think about innovation, and you want to think that all corporations need to continually step up their game and make sure that they're still relevant going forward, because if they don't, some other company will, and that may completely devastate their business. And so that is what's happening out there. People think it's cruel, but then there's other people that fully believe in survival of the fitness and fittest and Darwinism, and that happens everywhere. It happens in evolution with people. We're a lot different than the cave people that came before us. And it happens in companies and business too. It happens in wildlife. We cannot escape that. I even go so bold as to think, I think we are going to adapt to climate change over time. I think we have to do our best to protect the environment, but I also think
from the standpoint that we continue to evolve our own business, so a year ago we weren't doing Facebook Live, we're doing them now. We weren't doing a podcast, we're doing it now. And a lot of that has to do with understanding that the audiences that we're looking to attract and work with, these are the mediums that they're on. They're on social media, they're listening to podcasts, and it's important for us to be fully transparent as well as open up Techo Financial for that feeling of approachability, that you get to know us a little bit better and that you understand exactly what we're about. So I'm really excited about this theme of innovation. It's going to continue. Innovation and disruption, I think it's in the DNA of anybody who lives in Silicon Valley who's kind of used to it. But it is exciting to see the modifications and the changes that are taking place, and talk about how restaurants are adjusting, how retail needs to adjust, and of course financial services and the travel industry and just about any industry should be taking a closer look at innovation. Speaking of which, since we've been doing these Facebook Lives about every other week, now that we're moving into the summer months, and it's expected that things typically do slow down in the summer, we're likely to move this down and maybe doing it about once a month, more if things should happen, and we think, and of course we'll let everybody know. I do want to remind everybody that we're on Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram and YouTube. And we encourage you to take a look at some of those other mediums. Obviously, YouTube is mostly video. We also have the podcast. But I'm really excited about seeing, how a lot of the conversations are also shifting to Instagram. And so we've been posting a lot of things on Instagram, both visual and links to some of the content that we're sharing on our other mediums. So look for us on Instagram at Techco Financial on Instagram.
Yeah, and so as we start closing the books on the first half of this year, oh my gosh, I can't believe 2020 is halfway over, almost. We are going to be shifting to more of our financial planning side of the business, because as we have gone through this year, we've done a lot of rebalancing and investment changes based on the economy where it's at. And so now that we have, been so much entrenched in that area, there's probably very little that we will need to change. We'll just be monitoring over the second half of this year, which means that gives us time to do more financial planning. So if you are starting to think, what did this all mean to me in terms of when I can retire, or any other question that you have, those are the things that we love to be working with you on.
Absolutely. And so before we close, I just wanted to send out, and we both do, I should say our entire team, including Christina and Ava, our intern, just wanted to extend a very heartfelt thank you to all our clients for your ongoing support, for entrusting us, especially during these times of uncertainty. And we just want to say how much we really appreciate your business, and we value you. And we hope that if you've got a good story to tell, reach out to us. It doesn't have to be just about finances. And of course, we wish you all a very happy and safe summer.
Yes, enjoy those backyards.
All right, so we'll see you soon. Have a great summer, and keep in touch. Reach out to us, and go Cubs, go Dodgers, go Giants.
Bye.